So much, Orna. You know, the city of New Orleans is famous for its rich diversity and culture, but it's also home to one of the oldest Jewish communities in the United States, dating back all the way to 1724. So please welcome New Orleans Mayor Latoya Cantrell.
Well, good evening. Good evening, and thank you to my brother Mayor Friedman for the personal invitation to join you all here in Beverly Hills. But I would say, more importantly, it is really an honor and a privilege to be amongst my brother and sister mayors from across the United States of America as we stand together to stand against hate in all forms. And the city of New Orleans, absolutely, culture binds us together. We're making sure that we are an inclusive community and one, again, that stands against hate in every form. Not picking and choosing when you want to stand up and sit down, but understanding that consistency is key. When we stand up and we're unified, it sends the strongest message possible across this country. It does. And so before coming out this evening to the gala, I was listening to the news, something I don't do much in New Orleans. But I said, well, let me take a little chance. And so in doing so, one of the biggest topics of this evening was the rise in hate crimes in Los Angeles County. But here it is. What we know as mayors is just not one city. So while I'm talking, and they showed and talked about LA County, we're here because we recognize that the need to stand up against hate in this country, it really does start with us in our cities. So I am proud to be with you tonight, tomorrow, through Friday, so that we can continue not only to stand together, but to learn from one another, to become stronger together, and display what we know, courage, the courage that it takes and that it is required to be consistent. It matters. So I'm also here to recognize and honor a mayor who has been on the front line, who has been a true inspiration. He hasn't wavered at all. Looking at him made me even more confident to stand against it in terms of anti-Semitism in the city of New Orleans. When protesters came to one of our colleges, I said, oh no, like my mother said, you have to nip it in the bud. And we did. But we're here to make sure that, again, we're standing together, and our brother, Brett Smiley, he's the mayor of Providence, Rhode Island. He has been, again, not only displaying courage, but he has been intentional about building community, building a force that stands with him. And for that, we want to congratulate him, but because of that, we are presenting him with the CAM Advocacy Award tonight. Please give it up. And I do need the award. I need the award. Yes. So, Brother Mayor, on behalf of not only CAM, but on behalf of all the mayors, I will say not only that are here, but we know we had brothers and sisters who also wanted to be here. But we're representing the United States of America tonight, and we're standing unified with you in your leadership, and we want you to keep on going, because guess what? You're bringing us all along right there with you in our communities as well. So let's give it up for our mayor, Brett Smiley. Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island. Give me a hug.
Thank you, Mayor. It's hard following the mayor of New Orleans, and I'm a mild-mannered guy from Providence, Rhode Island, and I don't bring it like she does. But it's an honor to be here. I want to thank the entire team from Beverly Hills for hosting us, the CAM team for your incredible advocacy throughout the year, Sasha, and the rest of your team. And to all my mayors who are here from across North America, and Canada, support for Israel and steadfast support to stamp out anti-Semitism in our community is in fact the bipartisan issue, perhaps one of the last bipartisan issues. And so I had to chuckle a little bit when the great leader from Nassau County was speaking, because we come from very different places. I come from a very liberal New England college town, and yet we stand in the same place when it comes to bias and hatred and the oldest discrimination in the world, that is anti-Semitism. Rhode Island is proud to have the oldest synagogue in America, Truro Synagogue in Newport, Rhode Island. Every year we read a letter from George Washington that he wrote to the synagogue, and we are proud of our vibrant Jewish community. We have strong Jewish institutions, and this organization, CAM, has given us a to-do list that we are very proud to have implemented. Mayors like to say we get things done, and you give us a task, and we'll get it done. We're very practical, pragmatic people. And when Mayor Trantalis from Fort Lauderdale hosted us last year, I walked away with a 10-point action plan written by CAM on how cities can help stop the scourge of anti-Semitism, and I'm proud to say that in Providence, Rhode Island, we've done all of them. And so we've adopted the IRA standard. We, as like a lot of liberal cities, have a very robust DEI program, but when I got elected 2 years ago, I sat down with the director and said, where's anti-Semitism in our DEI programming? And it is now part of the training for all new city employees. We train all new police officers in anti-Semitism. We support our community institutions. And last year, standing on Mayor LeVar Stoney's shoulder of the good work that he had done the year before, I was proud to organize the United States Conference of Mayors in gathering other mayors from around the country to declare May Jewish American Heritage Month. 174 mayors signed this year. And as has been spoken about many times tonight, the reality is one of the places experiencing the most harm and some of the residents of my community feeling the most pain are those Jewish students on our college campuses. We have 5 colleges in Providence, including an Ivy League school and a world-class arts institution, and in those type of places, these hateful, uninformed protests have been able to fester and flourish at times. And so when we signed this year's proclamation for Jewish American Heritage Month, we did it at Brown RISD Hillel to show the students there that their city and their mayor and their community stands with them, and that they have a heritage that is worthy of celebration, that it is not just about pain, but it is also about all of the great things that come with being Jewish. And so we are going to continue to lead by example in Providence, and I know that my colleague mayors from around the country and around North America will do the same. It is our obligation to continue to stand up and speak out. I'll close with one last thought. As I said earlier, mayors are sort of over the top in our pragmatism. We like to focus on the things that matter, and we like to get things done. And many of our city councils, and my city council as well, have been waylaid by nonsense and hateful ordinances to condemn the government in Israel, that to try to speak out about the war. And what we know is happening is that this war has given a veneer of criticism of war, which is really actually anti-Semitism. And so while our city council has no role in foreign affairs, and it appears, I think, to many of my colleague mayors that this is a waste of time, that is not what we've been hired to do, the reality is that we need to muster the strength and the tolerance for the nonsense to stand up and to speak out and to recognize the harm that this does to our community. When my council introduced its anti-Semitic divestment ordinance, I came out strongly within hours, calling it what it was, anti-Semitism, and threatening a veto. And that was enough to have it die in committee. I can't tell you how many of my colleagues I've spoken to that have bemoaned the fact that they have had to waste days of their life listening to testimony on something that they seemingly have nothing to do with, but the reality is that our Jewish community is hurting, and they need to hear from their local elected leaders that we stand with them and that we are brave enough to speak out against hateful rhetoric and uninformed and often thinly veiled anti-Semitism in our community. And so we will continue to do that in Providence. I know that my colleagues who are here will do the same, and we will spread the word to the mayors who aren't here. Thank you so much for this recognition tonight and for your hard work.